there was a family named Trinity. The Trinitys lived in the east of the Mississippi River, east of the Appalachian Mountains. They were farmers. They were hunters.
Excuse me?
And they were fishermen. Years before our story begins, the Trinitys had settled in a small valley in a central Atlantic state. They spread out around the valley, each building their own little farmstead. The early family consisted of Mr. and Mrs. Trinity, their 3 sons, and 2 daughters. Now, 20 years later, the family had grown. There were children and grandchildren. The Trinity family was restless. They were tired of their little valley and all agreed they wanted something more. The West was calling. They had heard about the wide open spaces in Texas. And they discussed the possibility of setting out to get there. So one spring day, they decided to just pack up and head west to Texas. They sold their property. They got rid of whatever they felt like they didn't need in their new life. They saddled up their Polkaloosa horses, loaded up their wagons with the belongings they had left, and set out on their journey. Leaving their valley, they waved goodbye to friends and family who were staying behind.
Oh. Thank you.
The roads were rough. The going was slow. They headed south and west, skirting the higher elevations of the Smoky Mountains, heading south through the Carolinas. Across the Savannah River into Georgia. They crossed the Chattahoochee River, then proceeded into Alabama. They went on into Mississippi. The going was not easy. Some of the rivers they came to had ferries, but others required building rafts for transporting their wagons and livestock. It took several days at each river to complete their crossings. The country roads had many turns and side roads. They took wrong turns and had to retrace their steps. They frequently restocked their supplies in towns along the way, spending several days at times to rest themselves and their Polkaloosas. They spent their nights under the stars, circling their wagons and building a huge fire in the middle of their circle. They kept watch at night to protect themselves from wild animals and hostile Indians. After 6 months on the road, they were tired. It was then that they came to the mighty Mississippi River. Luckily, there was a ferry service, but the Trinitys decided to camp and rest for a few days on the bluffs overlooking the mighty river. They discussed their journey, things that had happened, things they'd been through. They discussed the wisdom of continuing their journey. They finally decided to proceed further, but set their sights a little closer than Texas. They finally crossed the Mississippi River and entered Louisiana. They crossed rivers and bayous. They saw alligators. They saw black bear. Finally, just over 100 miles into Louisiana, they stopped one night at a small clearing. They circled their wagons and made their camp. When they woke up the next morning, they were amazed at what they saw. They were in the most beautiful place. The land was lush and green. The sky was perfectly blue. The nearby water was crystal clear. The trees were tall and thick. Deer, rabbits, and squirrels were everywhere. The Trinitys decided to stay in this beautiful country. They had everything they needed right here. They built their farms, raised their fences, dug their wells. They worked their ranches, some becoming cowboys. They made friends with the local natives. Years passed. More and more settlers came to the area, and eventually a town was born. They built stores, hotels, churches. The Trinitys prospered. Over the years, people came and people went, but the Trinitys remained. They became doctors, lawyers, soldiers. A college was built. They became firemen and policemen. The interstate came through. They became mechanics, truck drivers, bikers, construction workers. One of the greatest things they did in later years, the Trinitys learned to square dance. They hired a caller, they held dances, and they danced.
With the horses.
Circle left, I started loving you again. Alabama left, do-si-do. Alabama left, you weave the ring, but I got over you just long enough to let my heart ain't been. Then today, I started loving you again.
Excuse me, caller. That is awful slow for a square dance. Do you think you have something a little faster so we can have more fun at it?
Never been accused of being slow. Let me see what I can come up with. I probably have something a little bit faster. Let's see, we've got a policeman, we've got a soldier, we've got a cowboy, we've got an Indian. Circle left, young man. Well, there's no need to feel down. I said, young man, just get yourself off the ground. Left Alabama, corner girl, come back and do-si-do and do. Alabama, corner girl, gonna weave around that ring. I said, hey, young man, won't you listen to me? I said, young man, you swing that girl in your promenade. Stay there, and I'm sure you will find many ways to have a good time. Head square through in the middle, in the middle, in the middle, in the middle, and go and get to the corner, girl. You step to an ocean wave, swing through. Hey, now the boy, run around the girl. You Ferris wheel into the middle and the center to pass. I got one here. Scoot back and the boy go in. You swing that girl around, I got a promenade. I said, hey, young man, won't you listen to me? I said, young man, just be what you wanna be. Well, now the head square in the middle, in the middle, in the middle, in the middle, and I go and I get to the corner, girl. You step to an ocean wave, well, swing through. Hey, now the boy running down the girl. Half tag the line, scoot back and the boy go in. Well, the boy running down the girl now. You slide through, you swing that little lady, get her down and promenade on along. I said, young man, won't you listen to me? I said, young man, Sykes Face, Grand Square at the YMCA. It's fun to stay at the YMCA. You can eat yourself clean, you can have a good meal. Do whatever you feel, four ladies chain straight across. Chain them back, you promenade. Well, you can have a good meal, you can do whatever you feel. On behalf of the Trinity Twirlers, we would like to take this opportunity to invite all of you to grab your partner and giddy on up to Ruston next year, March 6th and 7th, 2015, for the 2015 Lsda Square Dance Convention.